Hey everyone, we had some show news that we wanted to pass along to you. We lost a member of our chosen family. Rob Wieland was an author, game designer, and self-described professional nerd. He died unexpectedly and suddenly earlier this week. It's a huge loss for us, but also our community. We've been reading a lot of great tributes to him this week. One of them was written by Brennan Lee Mulligan, so we'll link to that in the show notes. Bob was passionate about his work and his interests, but he was also just incredibly kind, and he championed inclusion in all of his games, making everyone feel welcome and included. So there's a couple of things we wanted to do for Rob. First, we wanted to share out the link to his family's GoFundMe account. We'll link to that in the show notes too. Rob leaves behind a wife and a young daughter, so we would love to help them out as much as possible. If you're able to donate, we'd like you to consider. If you do donate, please send us a snapshot, and we would love to thank you on the show. Thank you for even considering doing it. Next, we want to plug his podcast, Theater of the Mind Players. It's an actual play show that plays everything but D&D. There is a Fallout season that I really love, but they've also played Vampire the Masquerade, Delta Green, some Star Wars stuff, some Star Trek stuff. So there's going to be a little bit of something for everybody. With every season, I think you'll be able to hear Rob's humor and joy. And it's great to hear his voice again. You can find it on YouTube or any podcast player. And last, we wanted to re-release the first episode he was on. It was in our old studio at the library, so the audio might not be the best, but it's still pretty funny. And it's also really important to us because the day we recorded this episode was the day that I met Rob for the first time. So they talk about it a little bit on the episode. Abby and Rob had been friends for a very long time, but that day was the first time I ever met Rob, and we became friends in less than an hour. I think that's what Rob was really great at, was making friends with everybody he ever met. And we're glad that we're able to share him out to you one last time. So give it a listen if you haven't already. Thank you for choosing us today, everybody. We'll be back next week with jokes.
Do we want to turn that fan down slightly?
Yeah.
I think I have it on the highest setting because it's spicy in here.
Well, with your hot takes, too. It's going to get extra spicy.
I've got hot takes about this book.
I do, too.
No. Was I supposed to read this thing?
Did you not?
No, I did.
Okay, thank God. You 100% covered.
I read it at 12:30. Does that count?
Classic college reading techniques of, I need to read this book before this class, and it is 30 minutes before this class, and I need to start this book.
Beware and warning, and welcome everybody to Choose Your Own Book Club. This is a podcast all about the Choose Your Own Adventure books, and just the many adventures we get along to.
No.
We get into.
No.
Through life.
We don't do anything.
I know, but this is the only thing that we do. And then we're silent for 2 weeks, and then we're like, I guess we have to interact with each other again.
Yep. Basically.
It's like you go through the Disneyland ride and they're like, oh, we're a pirate, and then if you look back after the boat goes through and they just go, buh.
Yeah.
Power down.
Exactly.
Yeah. So my name's Peter. I'm a librarian.
My name's Abby. I'm also a librarian.
And we have an extra special book today, and so we brought in an extra special person / friend / maybe best friend later.
New best friend.
I didn't realize this was an audition. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
I prepared better material.
I mean, we have... No, we're auditioning to be your best friend.
Yeah, it's actually us.
Oh,
yeah, we brought
I'm on the other side of the table now.
Yeah, we brought resumes.
It's like Shark Tank.
Welcome to Nerd Tank. Hi, I'm Rob Wieland. I'm an author, game designer, and professional nerd. as an author. You may have read my work on websites like Geek and Sundry, Nerdist, Dicebreaker, and the Forbes website. As a game designer, I've worked with tabletop game designs. I've designed tabletop games for almost 25 years now, ranging from my own stuff like Camelot Trigger and Save Game, also working with a ton of IP like Star Wars, Star Trek, Firefly, etc., etc., etc. And as a professional nerd, I talk about nerd stuff. I've been a guest of honor at several conventions. I've hosted panels at San Diego Comic-Con, and I'm the host of my AP show that focuses, AP being actual play, that focuses on playing all the other great tabletop role-playing games out there that are not Dungeons & Dragons, because there are a ton of them.
Well, that's partially why we wanted to bring you in today, because today we are talking about the Stranger Things Choose Your Own Adventure, Heroes and Monsters.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for this one. I saw it come out and I was like, oh, we've got to get my friend Rob to come in, because one time I had a dream.
That's a great criteria.
Right? I had this dream one time
I ate a meatball sub, and this is why we invited you.
I had a dream about a book I was reading called The Good Lord Bird.
Yeah, I love that book.
It's a wonderful book.
And they made it into a very good show.
Yeah, but in my dream, I had a bunch of friends who were competing for the title of the Good Lord Nerd.
Hey.
And it was a real dream that I had. And then I put it out into the universe. And by the universe, I mean Facebook. And my friends literally all did compete. And Rob won.
And what's funny is that's how I met Jason Irby.
Yeah.
And we have now become like nerd bros, but at the time we were very like, it was like when like Superman and the Flash like first meet and have to fight each other.
Right.
And then afterwards they're like, wait, we both don't like Lex Luthor. I don't know why you're Lex Luthor in this.
Hey.
But
I'm bald.
That is actually a true story.
Yeah.
But I also hopefully bring some expertise, both writing for RPGs and D&D, and also writing IP-based products, because I've worked with licensees, and
Yeah, so I think your expertise is going to be very helpful here.
Yeah, because I have thoughts about this already.
I do too.
And I'm grumpy. Because I've been on my feet all morning. So let's talk about this.
Well, how about let's jump into it with our patented segment that everyone loves. I'm sure you love too, because you've listened to all of our episodes, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Totally. Completely. Abby did not just send me 5 million links to be like, and this is our funny show. Don't listen to it though. It's really dumb. And this is my other favorite show. Don't listen to it. It's really, really, really dumb.
I did prep you by sending you the Star Wars one. I was like, this one's good. You should check it out.
Don't listen to it. It's really,
but
really dumb.
But it is really stupid, so.
I mean, that's a good summary of our show, is that it's funny, but it's dumb and no one should listen to it.
See, that's some marketing
podcast.
copy you should put on, like... I'll even say it if you want to quote me on it, so that way it looks like it comes from an outside source.
Watch that shirt on our Redbubble store. It's funny, but it's dumb, and you shouldn't listen to it. It'll be on the back of a T-shirt.
I love it.
So, for our segment, Choose Your Own Summary, Abby, you are going to summarize this book in 60 seconds or less, which you love doing.
Yep.
But you get to choose how you want to summarize it.
Okay.
So option number 1 is you're going to do your summary as Kate Bush running up that hill. So it's going to be a lot of, in this book, you are a kid. That was a good one.
Okay.
So that's option number 1. Option number 2 is you're going to do your summary from the point of view of the editor, because you are not the editor of this book, but the editor of a newspaper, because you as the character are a newspaper reporter, kind of for no reason.
Yep.
So you're going to be kind of the editor, kind of this background character.
Oh my God.
That Kate Bush thing is not looking so bad now.
Oh, if I only could. I could deal with God. I would put air conditioning in this room. I'll be the editor, but I'm gonna be specifically the editor from Spider-Man.
Sure, like J. Joseph.
Yeah.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Yes.
J. Jonah Jameson. I'm gonna be that guy.
Bring me pictures of 11. Okay.
Oh my God.
All right, so,
Okay.
are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, 60-second starts now. What happens?
I'm the editor of the school paper at the Lenora, and I need this young reporter to go and get me a good story. And I guess for whatever reason, she's gonna talk to this new kid, because that's gotta be a good story. But maybe instead, I'm gonna yell at this reporter, and they're gonna get mad and quit and go to Hawkins for some reason. Or no reason. I don't really get why they would go to Hawkins as a reporter.
Well, because it was for the convention.
Yeah, for that convention. I totally forgot about that. But anyway, sometimes they're going to talk to Jane, and it's basically just going to be the plot of the show. It's literally just the plot of the show that you watched.
It's the plot.
It's what we
10
call
seconds.
a flippin' adventure book instead of choose your own adventure book. But I need pictures of 11 or whatever. This is the worst summary I've ever done in my life. I really committed to the voice.
You did, and then you kind of died and was reborn as Abby.
It hurt.
Well, that was not the best summary, but that was an accurate summary because
Yeah.
this is basically just a rehash of
It's a
the fourth
junior
season.
novelization.
Mhm, basically. So I think we should probably get that out of the way right away, that there's going to be spoilers for season 4 of Stranger Things, because this book 100% spoils all of it, basically.
It is season 4 of
It's- yeah,
Stranger
mhm.
Things.
The only thing that's cut out is the Hopper part, the sheriff.
They mentioned him like once or twice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
I think it might have just been too hard to shoehorn in.
Right?
enough.
Like they mentioned
like they
at
walk
one
past
point.
him having like a sandwich or something. Like,
They mention like Joyce going to Alaska
Yes.
at one point, but that's kind of
though with the weird like Hawkins trip, it feels like, well, why not just offer a weird branch choice of like, and you're stuck in Alaska for 2 segments,
yeah,
like
for whatever you go visit your grandparents who live in Alaska.
right.
I might as well have gone there, yeah.
Yeah.
Your ice road trucking grandpa. And,
That would have been more fun, maybe.
oh no. So I will say that the fact that it is a junior novelization, I think that's a spot-on summary of this book. So your 10-second summary is better than your 60-second summary. But that may have been a licensor restriction.
I imagine so.
Because sometimes licensors get very weird and picky about what they can and can't do, especially with something like this, because, well, A, the licensor might not understand what the thing is, which sounds weird, but it happens. And B, they also are concerned that it will be considered canon.
Right.
And
Right.
that way, and they don't want to put out the final season and have fans be like, but in the book you said that this thing blah, 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 but she picked up a green baseball instead of a blue baseball. Why did you change
exactly.
that? And so sometimes licensors really
Blue baseballs?
right.
It can happen.
In this world, that's the only difference, is that baseballs are blue.
So, an example from my world is there was a role playing game that TSR did. TSR is the guys who owned Dungeons and Dragons back in the day.
Okay.
That was based on Indiana Jones,
Okay.
and the game is actually kind of famously bad as a licensee. And one of the reasons that people didn't like it was because you didn't have the ability to make your own characters. They assumed that you would be playing the characters from the first couple of Indiana Jones movies, which there aren't that many.
Right.
It was like, okay, so one of you gets to play Indy, that's cool, that's fun. One of you gets to play, like, Short Round, okay. One of you gets to play Sala. one of you, and it just kind of keeps going down the line until you start to get to characters like Wuhan. Do any of you know who that is?
I'd have to look it up.
Or Jock Lindsay. Do you ever know who that is? No. I'll save you the goog. Wuhan is the guy in the opening of Temple of Doom who gets shot, the waiter.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God.
And they have all this like back history.
Yeah.
But
he's there to die. And then Jock is the guy who flies the plane in the opening part.
Oh, start the engines.
Okay.
Right. So, but again, like, why would you, even as a fan, like, I'm a super huge fan of that franchise, and I'm like, and why I would not be like, I get to play the guy who gets shot at the beginning of the because I didn't win the
coin toss.
Right, the coin toss to play indie, right? So licensors oftentimes have weird restrictions on what the creative people can and can't do for whatever reason.
Right.
That makes sense. That's probably what was the case then in that Star Wars one that we read.
Right, we did read a Star Wars one that was mostly word for word, except for when it wasn't. You got to be like, you got to go to the dark side and got to make some really, really interesting, crazy choices, but it was only a handful of branches. Most of it was just kind of a word for word novelization, like you said.
Yeah, which is not very fun.
No.
I mean, it's fine, I guess, in some ways, but in other ways, it's like, it's really fun to be able to kind of play in that world instead. It's more imaginative than just being like, oh, I'm just reading instead of watching the show on TV.
Right.
I could be doing that. And two, it also gets to what kind of annoys me when I'm reading a choose book, where I'm not actually making a lot of choice,es I'm just flipping to pages, which is so frustrating.
That was something that I really noticed. Was like I remembered, and I even went back and read a couple of books like this that I still had. Actually, I have a couple of official D&D ones that a friend of mine wrote.
Sweet.
Okay.
And I remembered it being like, oh, you have, basically these are sort of like microfiction, like, okay, you make your choice, bang, here's one page, all right, now go to the next, now here's your next choice, bang. And there was a lot, like, I remember these segments being a lot shorter, and I was just kind of like, there were a couple of bits where I was like, we're still just talking here? Like,
because this book is almost 300 pages.
Yeah.
And usually they're about a little bit over 100.
Yeah, no, this one is
pretty
almost,
chunky.
Yeah, it's a big old guy. But again, they're fitting in the entire season, except for the Joyce and Hopper stuff where they're in Alaska and Russia.
And you usually have to get to like 5 or 6 pages before you get to make another choice. And then even then, the choices are very minimal.
Yeah. And two, you would think that with how long the book is, there would be more endings, but 25 possible endings is really a very tiny amount for a 300-page book. I mean, that's as many as we have in like a 100 and something page choose book. So it was very frustrating to be like, oh my God, it's the next, go to the next page, turn to the next page, go on to the next page, turn to the next page. Literally for like 7 or 8 pages in a row, it's just telling you to go to the next page. And then to me, it doesn't really feel like I'm choosing. It's literally, that's just how a book works. That's how a book functions.
Them's books.
Yeah.
Well, this book came out I had to look up the date. So this book came out in April 2023. And season 4 came out in May 2022. I had to look up a bunch of times, like, who different people were. Like, they would reference, like, Robin. And I
forgot who Robin was?
I remember the character. I just didn't remember, like, the names of certain people.
Oh.
You know, I had to look up a whole bunch of, like, these side characters. And one of the best things about the Choose Your Own Adventure books is there's usually only, like, 1 or 2 characters that are named that are important. The other ones are just kind of just in the background, and you don't need to remember names or anything like that. And so it just kind of, I don't know, kind of broke down it was just kind of harder to just kind of get the speed right, I feel.
Well, I found it interesting that, like, when my first read through of the book was, like, as soon as they introduce 11, obviously I will make every choice that lets me hang out with 11 because they are the main character of the story, so that's where the excitement and action is, and that was one of the shortest paths in the book.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that struck me as a really odd choice, because it's like, well, why would you not want to do that? Like, there in D&D and RPGs, like, a lot of them open with this idea, like, there's this kind of false sense of choice, like the opening of the like stereotypical D&D session is like, you are in a tavern and there's a mysterious man in the dark corner and he's like, I am looking for adventurers to go upon this quest, and you say no, and then you're
just
like,
hanging out in tavern.
yeah, and then you're
We came here to drink, man.
right, and then that's where a lot of these memes come up, where the dungeon master is this flabbergasted, like, please just go and fight the dragon. This is what I prepped for. I don't want you to sit around and play drinking games all night. Why, God, why? And a lot of D&D adventurers devote so much time to like trying to get people into the right choice and like say, oh, well, if you say no to the mysterious man, he then, pours like knockout drops in your beer, and then you pass out and you wake up and you're in the quest,
You're
whether you
already
like it
on
or
it.
not. It's always a weird experience to see that. It's a weird experience to see that here, because like, I guess I feel like if you're going to be reading a choose your own adventure book, you should feel like, oh, well, I made my choices, that's my story. And when I went through that storyline, it made me feel more like, oh, I have to go back and start over to actually read this book instead of enjoy the choices that I've made. And that doesn't strike me as a good choice for these types of stories.
No, and a lot of times too, we've read books where it does feel like, okay, they're railroading us into a specific storyline,
or punishing you for going off the route.
right? But this one, I don't know. It just was really hard to figure out exactly like what you're saying. Like, which storyline do you want me to read, man? Like, where do you want me to start? I did stay with 11, and then it was like, okay, that was boring. I'm not going to do that, I guess.
Well, how about let's actually get into the book.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it's the beginning of the last day before spring break at Lenora Hills High. Your editor is really angry at you because you haven't turned in the name for your next new student profile. He says, barely disguising his disdain for you. You basically need a student profile by the end of the day, or else you're fired. You're fired from this newspaper.
Like, how often do you put out the newspaper? And then, like, how many new students start there?
Who gets fired from the student newspaper?
And also, it's like spring break. Like, it's like the day before spring break.
You're also on the way to this other the news conference, which happens to be in Hawkins.
Yes.
Okay,
we gotta
fine.
talk about it later.
That's definitely a thing that happens.
Well, yeah, like
in high school.
like really, what they should have done was opened up the story with you desperately selling pizzas so that you could go on your trip to Hawkins.
Please, sir.
I gotta do it. I
I just need to sell 14 more canisters of nuts.
Just lugging a box of chocolates from class to class.
But those giant barrels of popcorn.
Oh, yes.
No.
Stranger Things is built on nostalgia and remembering,
yes.
like, oh, this is how things were back in the day, and that does not strike me as authentic at all.
Well, there is the Nancy storyline in both the book and the series, where she is a reporter, so it kind of ties into that storyline a little bit, but overall, it doesn't really tie into the rest of the book,
You do,
I
like,
feel.
hook up with her. You meet up with her later.
Which storyline is that? You give me a page number?
That's Abby's fan fiction.
Okay. I was going to say, that's what you wrote on the blank 5 pages in the back of the book?
I also love how it says that your editor barely disguises his disdain for you. And I'm like, what have you done?
I wonder if the author is maybe talking about their editor. Like,
That's a possibility.
Their editor, who actually hates them, is like, oh, God.
you need to get a student profile into the paper by the end of the day. But there's also this other kind of backstory of you're going to, I can't even say it with a straight face, you're going to like a reporter convention, a student reporter convention in Hawkins, Indiana.
You're daydreaming about it. You're not just
Can't
going.
wait.
You're like,
Hawkins, soon I will be in Hawkins, Indiana.
Yeah, from California to Indiana.
known
which,
pleasure
you know,
spot. Hawkins, Indiana. Ooh. Oh, boy.
So yeah, it opens in California, which I was trying to say before, like, this book came out a year after the series. And, we're reading a year after that. And so I had to remember, like, oh, that's right, it opens in California. Like, the party is split. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
So you kind of really have to remember all the details. And you kind of had to have already watched season 4 to get this book, which kind of defeats the point of this book.
I mean, yeah, true. I guess so. Because, yeah, if you're a fan of the show and you're looking to read this book thinking, like, I'm going to get something that I didn't get out of the show from this book, that's not going to happen.
There's a few things, but it's very small.
Yeah.
Why did they choose to set this where they set it? Like, why didn't they set it back, between season 1 and season 2, and that way you didn't have to have that weird bifurcated. For me, if I were doing something like this, the first thing I would think is, well, I want to go to Hawkins. I want to see all the stuff that's there. Why don't we just set it back in between, season 2 and season 3, where we're in Hawkins, you're a new student at the school, you get to hang out and meet all the kids, and that it gets you deeper into the story faster if you are already a student at the school, rather than this setup which feels much more like artificial, where you're like, oh well, you're a newspaper reporter, and you happen to meet the main character of the book, but then you're also maybe going away for 2 weeks to a student convention of reporters. Like, it probably should have opened with like, the reporter convention is happening, blah, 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 blah. And then maybe there's a path that actually takes you out to L.A. rather than... Because that way, in Hawkins, you still have more direct things to interact with rather than kind of casting you as the outsider looking in.
Oh, I agree.
But if you started in Hawkins, I feel then you as the audience might be like, well, why haven't I interacted with these kids already? The core group already.
Well, that's
but
why
if you started there at the conference,
right?
Oh, yeah,
sense.
Sure, that makes
like,
sense.
Hey, I'm a cub reporter, and I'm here at this newspaper
conference, which makes no sense.
Well, I love the fact that this is Stranger Things, where there's a psychic dimension with monsters named after D&D bad guys, but the student reporter conference is the thing that everybody is like, that's not real.
That's not a thing.
That's not realistic at all.
No.
So let's set that up a little bit more. You need to get a student profile,
Right.
and you're also looking forward to your trip to Hawkins because of this convention. So you see 11, but you don't know she's 11. She's Jane. It starts out basically how that first episode starts out, where 11 gets picked on. She tries to use her powers, and she can't because she lost her powers at the end of season 3. So you can either, that's the first real choice, is you can either help her right away, or you can just kind of forget her and go off to Hawkins, Indiana, for the conference.
Right. Because you're like, oh, she's a new girl. I can talk to her and be nice / get my news report done. Or I can just, whatever, I can leave.
And it seems like making the choice of let's ignore the plot point, it's such a weird choice to launch into. Like, eventually, like, a lot of times in these books, when you do that, it still kind of circles around and, like, oh, well, you're still going to get to the story, or we're just going to take you through a different path where, like, some weird stuff happens. But the fact that, like, that's the better choice if you want a longer story experience seems really weird.
Yeah.
Like, it's because, like, why would you want your reader to be like, choose inaction over action in a story.
Well, I'm a person who likes to choose the active path.
Yes.
But I also am an empathetic person. And if I see someone who's like hurting, I wouldn't want to be like, whatever, I'm going to go on my plane trip, baby.
Diet Coke all day.
I'm going to fly first time.
Well, and even with that, it's like, you have the meta knowledge that, okay, this is 11, obviously.
Right.
Why would you pick the like, no, I'm not gonna like it's like doing a Star Wars story and like running into Luke Skywalker right away and being like, nah, I don't want to hang out with the blonde kid with the cool lightsaber. I'm gonna go over here. And
You can totally do that though
You
in the book that we
actually
read.
but that's still such a weird choice to make. Like it feels like it's a weird like power trip. Like oh well, you're the main character, so if you want to ignore the other main character, go ahead, we don't care.
Yeah, it is kind of bizarre. But yeah, like we've read Choose books before where it like gives you the option to not be a good person essentially, and I just don't think kids would want to choose that.
You said kids, and this book is definitely
it's
not
definitely
for
not
kids.
for kid readers. Like even I would say teens or young teens would be interested as viewers of the show. It's definitely for people who've watched the show
And fans of the show, yes.
And fans of the show. But even like I could see my teenage daughters reading this. They're both empathetic people. Like they would want to help someone.
Well, I don't know,
know?
because I think sometimes there is something to be said for especially with teenagers, for kind of the power fantasy of, well, no, I don't have, like, I have to be nice in my real life, but this is just a pretend thing, so I can be a dick, and I don't have to worry about, like, somebody telling me, like, what's the worst that can happen? Oh, the story ends? Well, fine, then. I still got it, like, that's part of what you learn, especially when you play games like Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, that's part of the fun of it, is that I think when you do something where you take on a role, whether it's a book like this, or if you're in a play, or if you're playing a role-playing game, you get to do stuff that you normally don't get to do. Like that's one of the reasons why I enjoy running role-playing games, is because I usually get to be the bad guy, so I get to say all sorts of offensive things, and I get to, be like, yes, of course, I would love to own a Cybertruck, and all sorts of stuff that people were like, ew, gross.
The evilest of trucks.
But even if you do make the less empathetic choice, like you still end up doing like non-evilish stuff,
Oh, yeah.
Because you're basically just following the plot of the show. So it doesn't ultimately matter that much. Like if you don't go and help Jane /11, then it's like, oh, now I'm just going to go to Hawkins, and then you get all wrapped up in helping, Nancy and everybody with their problems, which are real problems.
Oh, definitely, yes, because then it gets into the
people
Vecna,
dying and stuff.
the Vecna storyline.
So you're either, it's which is the more fun storyline to read.
I think so too.
But there's nothing like actually unique about any of it. It's all just following the plot of the show.
And I feel like if you make kind of a weird choice and try to like break off from the main storyline, it either will automatically end, you kind of get punished for that, or kind of like the book will like somehow like steer you back into like another episode, another like just a storyline from a different episode, basically.
See, well, and that's when people talk about railroading, that's kind of what they're talking about, where when you're dealing with an interactive type of plot, you kind of have to eventually have the like, okay, hopefully the road is wide enough that they don't see where you hit the invisible wall, and like to cross analyze here. It's like the part in Star Trek where they hit like the edge of the holodeck and they're like, oh, I guess I can't run as far as I can. And so that doesn't surprise me that they steer you back, but they need to have a much better like.
Well, and honestly, the best Choose books are always the ones that feel like a game. They are game books essentially, and this one had really just nothing game-like about it when it comes down to it, and so then it makes me wonder why why did they write it as a choose book?
Well, I think just because of just the nostalgia of it.
So it's a nostalgia fact. I mean, yes, because the series is a nostalgia series.
Because, it was created in the 80s.
Yeah.
As we've discussed, the whole series is obviously reflecting on 80s nostalgia and capitalizing on 80s nostalgia.
Right.
Stranger Things nostalgic drive is a powerful economic force.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of the reasons why Dungeons & Dragons is having its renaissance.
Yeah, like a second birth, yeah.
Things like a Critical Role and Adventure Zone and all those things which demystified the process.
And made it funny.
And made it funny and entertaining to watch, and so people would then go, oh, well, let me try that. That's how hard could it be? And then you play your own games, and now those shows are playing Madison Square Garden.
Right.
You just wrote an article about that. You interviewed Brenda Lee Mulligan.
Yes, he is so lovely. Like a lot of times.
And cute.
Well, because he is very passionate and he's very knowledgeable about this stuff, and it's just very exciting to talk to somebody who really gets sort of why RPGs and D&D have the staying power, and like how you can use it to tell stories that make people cry,
right,
or laugh, and
like change people's lives,
right?
You know, and I think that's something too with Stranger Things.
Oh, definitely, yes.
That like was really powerful. Is that was a show that people connected to, kind of like on a soul level, and I think Dungeons and Dragons, like my kids love it. It's something that they have really connected with their friends with, and it's. Those things really tie in together in a really meaningful way.
Well, a lot of times it becomes this generational, connectional thing. It's the nerd version of like, I'm going to take you to a baseball game. We're going to get you your first Brewers cap, and it's really exciting to see because it shows sort of the longevity of these types of stories, and Stranger Things I think was definitely a gateway to that because you see it in other elements of it too, where like Kate Bush had her number one hit from a song that came out 40 years ago, or even something like I went to San Diego Comic-Con 2 years ago, and the number one shirt that I saw worn by hundreds of Comic-Con attendees was not a Marvel shirt. It was not a DC shirt. It was a Hellfire Club shirt.
Club.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
All of my kids have one for sure.
And if it was not a Hellfire Club shirt, I saw like women with like print skirts, or like they made their own stuff that had the logo on it, and that is really the indicator of how deep Stranger Things has permeated into the pop culture landscape, and Dungeons and Dragons has kind of ridden along on the back of it.
Well, just like D&D had a resurgence because of Stranger Things, I think this was such a great move on Choose Your Own Adventure part to kind of get reinterest in the brand.
Yeah.
It was such a great move. I just wish that they would have...
I think that, like you said, Rob, they have a really interesting opportunity if they can do it to do something like between seasons, write the Choose book where it's between season 3 and 4. It's the Byers family going out to California or something like that, because those are the adventures we really want to see. Like, write the adventure of Hopper in prison. I want to see that Choose Your Own Adventure book.
Or if it would have been like kind of like an alternate timeline, alternate history, like
I want Barb to come back.
Oh, or it could have been like what if Barb lived and Nancy died? Like, like what if
Stranger Things is a story of 11. You're 8. And you also have escaped from the facility. Your path is much different, but it's still core to the same experience. You can still hit a lot of those same notes, but this way, the other thing being that when you write tie-in fiction like this or tie-in materials, licensors also don't want their main audience, who are the people who don't give a crap about these books, to feel like they have to do reading before they watch the movie. That's why Star Wars reset all of its external stuff when Disney bought it, because they, like, okay, it's or even Marvel does this a lot, where like they bring in a character and they keep elements that are important to it, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe version of Hawkeye is different from the comic book version. And they kind of bring in the best parts.
Yeah.
And so with a book like this, you want to. It's a tricky balancing thing, because you want to make people feel like they're part of the adventure, but not necessarily like make it influence the future official products.
Another thing that I thought was weird about this book was what's so great about Stranger Things is not only the nostalgia hit, but also the group dynamics. That the characters are so well written, and then kind of when they start to butt heads, it's really interesting, just those dynamics. So there was one page in particular that really kind of threw me. It was like Nancy and Robin, they're kind of fighting a little bit because of their trauma, because of their histories, because of their background. And, they've been through so much, and you're just there. And, you're trying to talk to them, too. And they're like, what are you doing? You have no idea what we're talking about. And it was like, the character doesn't even know why they're there. And I don't even know why I'm here either. So
I'm sorry.
Oh, fine.
Well, but that strikes me as an opportunity for a loop of choice. Like, the idea being that, okay, you are here, that you are watching this fight, and the choice is you side with Nancy or you side with Robin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that way you get a little side story where, okay, I sided with Robin, Nancy's a little huffed at me for a couple of sections, and then we get back to the main storyline, or vice versa. But you still have that feeling of, oh, I made a choice that mattered. Like, obviously you would want the choice to be more impactful, but because we're dealing with characters that we know and we've interacted with, like, we know Nancy isn't going to die unless it's like the last. You make a bad choice and like, oh, we're all in a car accident, or whatever.
Right.
But it still makes it feel like you have shaped the story in one way or the other.
Right.
But
it's like the author was like not interested in doing anything like that, where it would have been like something that would have impacted the story in a way. It was like, oh, you're just there like a fly on the wall, but like everyone knows that you're the fly on the wall, and they're like, what is going on? I dubbed these ones the flippin' adventure books, because you're just flipping from page to page. You're not really choosing much of anything at all. You're choosing, sure, you're going from one page instead of a different page, but you're just flipping. You're not making choices that really impact the storyline whatsoever. I mean, I will say this though. I think that Rana Tahir did a very nice job with her writing.
In case she ever comes and sees me,
I will say it's well written.
I agree.
I think it was well written and easily, like, it's very accessible and readable and stuff like that. I just don't think as a choose book it works very particularly well.
Well, you said you were excited about this one to begin with.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were excited about this.
Yeah.
I just wish they would have taken more of a risk and not worried about canon as much.
Right. And I think that's
like
probably like Rob also said, it's probably just not really the author's choice so much.
Right, but
So
I think they kind of had to take a risk.
right. I wish that they had been able to. Like, I wish that would have been an option.
So what my experience with this book reminds me of are the Find Your Fate books that I read as a kid.
Okay.
So I'm a huge fan of the Indiana Jones franchise, and there was a series of Find Your Fate books of using Indiana Jones as the central character.
There was some Choose Your Own Adventure young Indiana Jones though too.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
But this was earlier.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Like this was earlier enough that I believe at least one of them was written by this guy named R.L. Stein before he.
Whatever happened to that guy?
I don't know.
He's going to be my grandpa. I've already put it into the universe.
No, you can't. Edward Packard's your grandpa. You can't.
You got two grandpas.
You can have, like 4 grandpas.
So the basic format of these books was always like, your Uncle Indy is going to Egypt on a trip, and your parents send you along because they're bored of you and want you to go like spend spend a summer in Egypt for whatever reason. And you're there, but you're kind of witnessing Indy having his adventure versus being in the adventure. And that was, and like, so the stronger ones got you more involved, but there were definitely some weak ones where you're just kind of standing around watching Indiana Jones do stuff. And that's what this book kind of reminded me of, where you're not the one in charge of the adventure. You're just sort of bouncing from plot point to plot point that you already know.
Right.
These sound incredible, though. I want to read these so bad.
You want to? I will be happily come back and there's one I think where it's like the
Curse of Horror Island.
The chalice. There's like a Chalice of Dracula one. There's
Yes.
And I feel like that one, like, out of all of the
Cup of the Vampire.
that's it. I think out of all of them, all of the endings of that one, I think there's like one where you don't end up bit by Dracula. like that one is a tough one to get through.
I want to read all of these, but particularly the Ape Slaves of Howling Island sounds amazing. All of these are so good. Okay. Yes. Beautiful.
Well, I think that about covers it.
Yeah, I think we've talked a lot and not a lot about this book.
Right. Well,
it's really hard to talk about a book where like it's basically just the show.
it's basically the show.
So if you want to know what this book is about, just watch the show.
Yes. Well, did you have a favorite death for this book?
I didn't die.
You didn't die at all?
No.
I died.
How did you die?
It wasn't like a death. It was like it was like the ending where you follow 11 and Dr. Brenner shows
That was gonna be my
up.
favorite one. Yes.
And then basically you're just it's not a death. Well,
Sure. So yeah, my favorite death was when you follow 11. She goes into the bunker with Dr. Brenner, and she gets her powers back because she sees all the video, which kind of spoils the surprise of season 4. But whatever. So anyway, she gets her powers back and she attacks guards. So you can either have the choice to help her or run away. If you help her, she knocks you back and you wake up in a cell. And Dr. Brenner is like, oh, 11 thinks that you're dead, and she feels guilty about it. So I'm going to help her through this and kind of like bond over her. But you're going to stay put right here. So yeah, you're just kind of forever locked in this cell.
Oh, that's
Because 11 thinks you're dead, but you're clearly not.
So you're going to starve there.
Yeah, basically.
Cute.
And then I think the ending line is like you say, like, don't you care about kids? And Dr. Brenner says, I care about all of my children. And then the end. So that was a good ending because it took that risk and it kind of broke away from the source material just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
And so I wanted kind of more risks like that, I suppose.
Yeah.
There also was a good storyline where Max is already dead, and then you kind of have to keep the story going just a little bit more, and do you help Lucas, or like what does the group do when you kind of already failed? I thought that was such a great storyline. I wish that would have been fleshed out a little bit more. Most of the endings are just you fail and Hawkins falls and is destroyed, or you just everything's fine.
Yeah.
So you didn't have a favorite ending?
No.
All right.
It was kind of boring.
All right.
It was kind of boring. I felt bad.
Yeah, because I really wanted to like this
I
one.
did too, because I was really excited. I loved the show, and I loved, obviously, Choose books, and I really was pumped for it. And so I felt really I think I overhyped it in my head.
Well, I hope they make more of these.
I do too.
They have to be non-canon, or they have to be like alternate timelines where like Will is infected by the Mind Flayer, and he's like the big bad you have to try and destroy.
Yeah.
I think that'd be so much more of a better adventure.
A little more playful.
Yes.
And imaginative would be fun.
To kind of play in that world a little bit.
Yeah.
Make choices in that world that you don't already know the outcomes of, too.
That's the part, yeah. Choices where I don't already know what's going to happen when I flip to that page would be good.
Well, Rob, was a delight to have you in today.
Thanks. I I thank you for inviting me to come in. It's been a while since I've read a regular old Choose Your Own Adventure book, so that was very fun. Like I agree with Abby's with Abby's assessment and your assessment of like, you know, I wish that they had gone a little wilder with some of the endings, because that's part of the fun of the Choose Your Own Adventure book is, you know, you make one choice and then, you know, 3 pages later it's like, and then the nuclear bombs strike, and you're like,
Right.
I didn't know.
It was one page, one page difference.
Right? You're like, I just ate a sandwich, and now all of
Right.
a sudden I blew up the entire land.
And this book really didn't have a lot of that,
Yeah.
which is doubly depressing just because of how wild that setting is. Like you should have, you know, like it shouldn't even necessarily be its own alternate, you know, history book. That should be a path that you can go off on of, okay, well, this is going to end a lot weirder than it should, and for whatever reason they decided not to do that, and it's unfortunate because that's kind of why I enjoy those books, because of those weird dark endings, because you don't usually get those in you know, regular books that you read or regular linear storytelling.
Right. Well, and two, I think something that we always talk and joke about is like how child endangerment is such a huge part of Choose Your Own Adventure books. And like Stranger Things is an entire show about child endangerment.
Yes.
So, but like knowing that that's already going to be part of these books, it's like, oh, well, that's not.
It seems like such a great match.
Yeah.
And I hope they kind of get the format better if they choose to do another one.
Yeah, I hope they do.
I mean, I think that's part of the child endangerment thing, is because it's the target audience.
Right.
Like you are a 12-year-old reading this book, so of course it's like so the first game book series that I read, that I got into, that got me into fantasy even before like Lord of the Rings or anything like that, were the Lone Wolf series of books.
Yes, we've heard about this, yes.
And I will definitely come back and want to talk about this. But you basically play a Ranger Jedi, like Hogwarts student, except the book opens with the like destruction of your school by the Sauron figure, and the whole first book is basically you desperately running to go to tell the king to be like, you ain't got no more Jedi, dude. Like, you are screwed, man. And then the books are following you as sort of the last Kai Lord is what they're called. But it's still funny to me because you're still this like 14-year-old kid. And like, you know, kings are like, what should we do, my liege? And it's I don't know.
I kind of just want to stay in my room all day.
Can I just? Are there going to be girls there? Like, you know, but that's that same aspect writ large is, you know, because there is that, you want to be able to identify with the character, like, you know, like obviously if, you know, like we would probably much prefer a book written from like Joyce's perspective because that's more where we're at.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, child endangerment. It's a lot of fun, guys.
That's the pull quote for this.
Yeah. That's IELAND when you put that under.
Well, do you have anything you want to plug really quick?
Sure. I am the host of Theater of the Mind Players, which is an actual play show that plays all of the RPGs that are not Dungeons and Dragons.
You said yes.
We are currently finishing up a season of Vampire the Masquerade, and we are going to be doing a second season of the Star Trek Adventures role-playing game, which I worked on. And we actually do have like Starfleet uniforms that we pulled out of our meager budget to pay for.
Amazing.
But those are two of my favorite storylines. If you're a fan of Stranger Things, we did also play the RPG called Tales from the Loop, which is a very similar storyline. I think Amazon turned it into like a TV show and a board game. But it is a very similar storyline. It is basically kids living in a Swedish town where the loop is this mysterious energy government thing where like rifts to other dimensions and time periods sort of like instead of like, oh no, the dogs have gotten out, it's like, oh, a Tyrannosaurus jumped through the time loop and now it's nested in your school. How do you deal with that? And we played a season of that, and we also played the sequel game, which is called Things from the Flood, which is set in the 90s, where that facility has shut down, but a lot of the like technology and other pieces are still like lying in fields rusting. And on top of that, you're all surly teenagers now, and like, what does this all mean, man? Like I grew up in a world of wonder, and now all I want to do is make out on the top of the Robo T-Rex. Like, I think those are really great if you're stories to watch if you're a fan of Stranger Things, because it hits that same sort of spooky nostalgia vibe dead on.
Cool.
And you can find that where?
On the YouTubes, Theater of the Mind Players. We spell it the fancy R-E way, but if you do the regular theater spelling, you'll find it too. We are also on podcasts as well under the same name. So please go listen to us, and if you'd like it, come tell us.
Theatre.
I'm going to check it out. And of course, you're still on Forbes?
Yes, I write regularly for the Forbes website. EN World, I do a lot of reviews for, and then I also do the occasional article for Dicebreaker, and a lot of my stuff is archived on Nerdist now because Geek and Sundry, has gone to sleep. I write about all sorts of weird things around the internet, so come check me out.
Yeah, you're such a great writer. I just read your Brennan Lee Mulligan article and interview. It was very good.
That's how Rob and I met each other. We were both copywriters. So.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was before I became a librarian. I was a copywriter. And now he has a wonderful freelance business where he gets to do all of the fun stuff that he's always wanted to do, and is wildly successful, and just so proud of him. So.
Aw, bless
so
you. You're nice too. I like you too.
Thanks,
I don't know.
This guy, I don't know.
Peter is my worst best friend.
And yet you decided that to lock yourself in a room with him for a couple hours every.
But that's what people tune in for.
Yep.
Okay.
For our goofy relationship.
Your prickly chemistry.
For Peter to be like, it's our new favorite segment, and me to go, no. No.
It's just a show about us like shooting down each other's enthusiasm for things.
Yeah.
Well, that's weird because I feel like I came in at an episode where neither of you were very enthusiastic about this book.
That's true, yeah.
But no, normally that is kind of the podcast thing. It's like one person is like, yeah, and then the other person is like, shut up.
Basically.
Well, yeah, let's wrap it up. But like I said, we'd love to have you back on, either talk about Lone Wolf or do the Choose Your Own Adventure games.
You want to do that R.L. Stein Indiana Jones book. I know you do.
R.L. Stein, be my grandpa.
Well, yeah, how about, let's wrap it up. So, my name's Peter. I'm a librarian.
My name is Abby. I'm also a librarian.
And today we were joined by...
Rob Wieland, author, game designer, and professional nerd.
Well, Choose Your Own Book Club. My name is Peter.
See, this is our chemistry.
Okay, now I see it. Okay.
Ooh.
So, my name's Peter. I'm a...
You already did that.
Thanks for choosing us today, everybody. We'll see you next time.